Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are going to unlock the actual cheat codes to flawless English writing and reading comprehension. Whether you are crafting a formal letter, structuring a complex essay, or dissecting a dense historical text, mastering the mechanics of the English language gives you a massive advantage. We aren't just looking at the rules today, we're really digging into the logic behind them.
We'll be taking a micro to macro journey. On the agenda today, 1. The sentence foundation. 2. Structuring your ideas. 3. Formal letter formats. And 4. Comprehension, the cinnamon story. So we're starting with the smallest building blocks of a sentence, moving all the way up to a thrilling historical text that honestly reads like a true crime documentary.
All right, Section 1, the sentence foundation. Let's bust some common grammar myths that constantly trip people up.
Here is a tricky scenario straight from our source material. The general rule we all learn is that if you have two singular subjects joined by the word and, you use a plural verb, right? Like, Harry and his brother are identical twins. Simple enough. But what about this classic phrase? Do time and tide wait or waits for none?
Now, what's really interesting here is the exception to the rule. When two subjects joined by and actually represent one unified idea, the verb is singular. Think of the phrase, rice and curry is my favorite dish. Rice and curry are technically two things, sure, but together they make one dish. In that exact same vein, the correct phrasing is time and tide waits for none, because they are treated as a single unstoppable force of nature.
Let's look at another common trap, collective nouns. Words like jury or family. The crucial point here is that a collective noun takes a singular verb when the group acts as a single united entity. So the jury is finally complete. But it takes a plural verb when the members of that group act individually. The jury were divided in their opinion because the individuals inside the jury are actually disagreeing with one another. Context is absolutely everything.
Before we move on from sentence structure, you have to beware of the error of proximity. This happens when our brains just lazily make the verb agree with the noun physically closest to it rather than the actual subject of the sentence. Look at this example. The quality of the shoes is up to the mark. People often want to say are because the plural word shoes is sitting right next to the verb. But shoes isn't the subject, quality is. Since quality is singular, the verb must be is. Always hunt down the true subject.
Moving right along to Section 2, structuring your ideas. Because let's face it, having perfectly grammatical sentences means absolutely nothing if your overall ideas are a disorganized mess. Having good ideas just isn't enough. You need a visual framework to organize them. Let's use the W plan. Imagine you have to write a composition about a river. Your brain might just haphazardly throw out words, ducks, water, fishermen, bridges. It gets overwhelming fast. But if you systematically ask the W questions, where did the river flow? When are you describing it? Who is there? How are they behaving? You instantly transform those scattered observations into a sharp, focused narrative.
And this perfectly illustrates another visual tool for heavier topics, the knowledge categories plan, or what some call a planning web. Say you're tackling a complex essay on digital addiction. You put that main topic right in the center. Then you literally branch out into distinct categories like psychological impact, academic consequences, and the role of social media.
By following these simple visual steps, you can instantly turn stressful, messy brainstorming into a highly organized, professional essay plan. You are literally drawing a map of your argument before you write a single paragraph. This ensures your final piece flows logically from one point to the next with zero rambling.
Section 3, formal letter formats. Now we're zooming out to real-world applications by adding formal letter writing to our toolkit. Keep these golden rules in mind before drafting any official correspondence. You want to be businesslike and clear. There is zero room for highly imaginative prose here. Get straight to the point. Most importantly, be polite in your expression, even if you're writing to complain. And always use a clear subject heading so the recipient knows exactly what the letter is about before they even read the first line.
Comparing these specific CISC formats side by side helps us instantly spot the spatial rules of formal letters. Notice the precise alignment here. Format 1 has the sender's address, the date, the recipient's address, and the sign-off neatly aligned on the left margin. Mastering these visual layouts ensures your letter commands respect before the reader has even digested your perfectly structured sentences.
Section 4, Comprehension, the cinnamon story. Finally, let's put all these reading skills to the test on a fascinating historical passage about the spice trade.
The history of the spice trade, specifically cinnamon in Sri Lanka, is absolutely wild. According to the text, in the first millennium BCE, Arab traders totally monopolized the trade. To keep Europeans away, they literally spun myths about giant birds building nests out of cinnamon sticks. They said traders had to leave huge chunks of meat for the birds to carry away until the nests collapsed. Crazy, right? By the 16th and 17th centuries, those myths were replaced by the ruthless colonial conquests of the Portuguese and then the Dutch fleets.
To truly comprehend the stakes of this text, just look at this observation by the Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder. A single pound of cinnamon cost a Roman laborer 5 months of wages. 5 months! It wasn't just a flavor, it was the ultimate status symbol used in perfumes and medicines. This extreme value explains exactly why empires were willing to go to war over an island of trees.
Tying this history back to our English toolkit, a strong vocabulary is absolutely essential for deep reading comprehension. The text notes that the Dutch East India Company monopolized the trade. Understanding that this means to exclusively control and corner a market is key to grasping how this tiny nation of the Netherlands funded an empire stretching all the way to Indonesia.
We also see the word arduous, which the passage uses to describe the process of obtaining the cinnamon. It involves manually peeling the outer bark of the tree to expose the inner bark, which is then peeled by hand with a knife to create the quills we recognize. Arduous perfectly captures the back-breaking, laborious reality forced upon the local workers.
I'll leave you with this provocative question to ponder, drawn straight from the climax of our text. While the Dutch built a global empire on cinnamon, the Salagama community, the locals forced to peel the bark, found themselves entirely trapped. They were flogged for trying to flee, forced to work longer hours, and even banned from changing their caste. How can strong reading comprehension help us look past the glamorous wealth of empires to actually empathize with the marginalized communities who truly harvested the spice? It's a powerful reminder that words and grammar aren't just rules on a page, they're the tools we use to uncover the real stories of human history.